Hi there, it's Kevin again from the Nissan Figaro Owners Club. Just a little video, one of my normal videos here, which is just hopefully to help our members and fans of the car. What I'm going to do today, or over the next few days, I'm going to video a bit of a refurbishment in the engine bay. So if I'm going to point the camera down here and just show you what the intentions are. At the moment I've pretty much cleaned a lot of the bay, and you know, I've used gunk to do this, and it's a great cleaner. You can obviously get it from your motor factors and Halfords and places like that in the UK. Gunk is good. You can just put it on with a cloth, and it gets a lot of the metal and gets rid of a lot of the gunk and the mess around the car. So highly recommend that, really. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to replace the casing here with a brand new shiny one, which is here. These are being basically repainted, and basically this has been cleaned and lacquered by the Figaro shop, Toby's team. Basically you can buy these online through his online shop. Basically it's just a swap with what's obviously existing on the car at the moment. So the idea is to swap that the old one here with the new one, which will look nice and shiny. Whilst I'm doing that, I'm also going to paint this. This is basically another sort of cover, which you've got to be careful when you paint this. Obviously you need a high temperature paint. You can't just paint it with any old thing, so you need a high temperature silver paint, which is what I brought. So this is going to come off, that's going to be replaced. And also the last thing to do as well is, you'll notice some rust here. It's not that bad, but again, I've used I brought some high temperature black enamel paint again, and I'm going to put this on these little bits of rust here, where you've got here. So I mean, you don't have to do this, but it's nice to sort of keep all this clear rust. Obviously whilst that is exposed, that's going to get worse, so the idea is to rub this down a little bit, degrease it, and put a little bit of paint on these areas here. The engine bay looks pretty good. Put a new battery in this year, so that's all okay. The filter I've checked, so that's all come out, and that's looking okay. And again round here, and cleaned all this up as well. So that's the job, and obviously following the video through over the next few days. Okay, so basically I've removed some of the rubber hoses. This one here needs to come off, and that's just basically a clip, which obviously you can do with a pair of snippers like this, and basically you compress it together, and then when you compress it together it goes loose and you can pull it back. This one here is a little bit more tricky. There's a hose, a piece of pipe that runs between these two, obviously the turbo, into the ECCS unit here, and what I've done over here, I've just sort of put them over here, but I've sort of put them in order. It's always good to do that, try not to get things mixed up. So that's in order that it came out. So this is now free. If I undo this and this, the whole unit should just come away, and then I can basically just replace it. One particular tricky part is this area here. You've got it. This is the throttle controller, and you can't actually remove the rocker cover because it hits this. So what you've got to do, you've got to get this like tiny spring, and the spring clips up around this gap here. So you need a small screwdriver to come in here and basically remove this small spring, and it comes out. So what they call a C-shaped spring. It's not really a C, well I suppose it is really, isn't it? So you need to take that out, and then as you can see, this then detaches. And it's always worth just putting some cloths in these areas when you're doing this sort of work. Make sure nothing falls down. So I've got this pretty much all off now. All the hoses are off. Remove the bolts. Little bit tricky. You've got to sort of cut around this rubber here because it's compressed. Where you compress down with a nut, it compresses the rubber, and it's quite tricky to get that off. So, but don't worry. Obviously, you're going to be changing this area around anyway. So obviously the rocker cover's coming off, and it's going to be replaced with this brand new one. So that's the next stage. So that's the new cover in place. I've just tested the engine, and it all seems to be okay. So obviously make sure that you've got the 3 nuts, the 3 bolts back in place. There's 1 here, and there's 2 here, and then obviously the tube and the 2 rubber seals here, 2 rubber seals that obviously seal the turbo. So everything's done there. The next part is to spray the cover here, the turbo cover here that sits there. Going to put some nice silver paint on that. As I said, heat-proof paint, and also just going to touch up the radiator. So she's looking pretty good now, a lot smarter. And I'll run it up, check for any leaks. Everything looks okay. So next stage is to paint the cover. So back in the workshop now, and as you can see, I've sprayed the cover. Looks pretty good. It's had 1 coat at the moment. So what I've used is high temperature aluminium paint. It's obviously designed to provide like a matte finish on very high temperature parts of your engine. So that's going to work on this area, which does get very hot. So don't put a normal paint on it. It does need to be high temperature. And you can pick this up from Halfords or your auto factors for, I think it's about £7, £8 for the tin. And doesn't need an undercoat. All you need to do basically is degrease the area, degrease the cover with a bit of thinners, and she looks quite good. So going to leave that to dry for sort of half an hour, give it another coat, maybe 3 or 4 coats, and put it back on the car. So I've just touched up the radiator casing, so looks quite good now. There's a couple of bits of exposed metal on that, and basically on this again I've used the high temperature engine enamel black, gloss black, and it looks really nice. So that's all done now. The cover is drying in the workshop, so last part is to pop this on, and then I'll take a small video of the short video of the final finished engine bay. So I've put the rocker cover back on, connected all the hoses up, and put the plugs back in, plug sockets back in, and everything seems to be fine. I've fired the engine up and it's good. Working okay. So as you can see, the engine bay's pretty clean now, and the radiators come out well, and the cover looks good. Nice that. Just a coat of paint, a nice easy job. So that's it really. That's another little video from Kevin. Hope you're enjoying your Figaros, and see you soon. Bye.